welcome back to the lockdown sessions. And this time we are with Benjamin Boone. Benjamin, this is the second one where I officially have called it the lockdown sessions. We got a name finally. So how are you doing this evening?
I'm doing pretty well, and we are under lockdown, but I'm not in a cage, so
I see that we're getting a virtual tour.
Yes, exactly. A small tour of the Bachelor pad.
So the Bachelor pad, and now we have moved to the comfy chair.
That's right, Daddy's chair. That's what I call it.
We want to remind everybody that we're doing an interview. You helped us out. Well, it's almost a month ago, believe it or not, with Mania Crawl, where we raised $3,300, over $3,300 for the Red Cross by doing a virtual pub crawl, virtual Mania Crawl. So we wanted to thank you for helping out with that. And then we wanted to, let's get a chance to know this guy. So you are coming to us from the great state of Ohio?
Yes, born and raised in the state of Ohio. Where lovers are from, such as myself, the Bachelor. Grew up in a town called Perrysburg, which is a suburb of Toledo, and went to college at Bowling Green State University for education. And that's when I started training to become a pro wrestler. Was my sophomore year of college when I met a gentleman by the name of Hobo Joe. He no longer works. I don't know if that name sounds familiar or not. He wrestled in Pro Wrestling Ohio, tag team with Gregory Iron, the Homeless Handicap Connection. I met him just, through pure happenstance, through a mutual friend of ours that hosted pay-per-views, and said, hey, Eric is his real name. We could break kayfabe. Eric's his real name, and hey, he's training to wrestle, and if you are interested, come on up. And I took, nearly the 2-hour drive one way to the Cleveland All Pro School, which was led by JT Lightning at the time. Anyone that knows about independent pro wrestling knows JT. Cleveland All Pro was a place that anybody that was anybody went through. People like Edge, Joey Legend, CM Punk, Colt Cabana, Johnny Gargano, among many more, made their mark at Cleveland All Pro. So I trained for about 6 months and had my first match in April 2007. It was a tag team battle royal. My tag partner and I were thrown out pretty quickly. He was thrown out. I was kept in because I was the new guy. So I had to get all the chops in on me. I wasn't doing the chopping. And Super Oprah, if that name is familiar, gave me a very memorable stink face. So before I got unceremoniously dumped out by future mentor and tag partner, Amazing Nate Madsen.
Wow. Very, very, very nice. So 2007. I was going to say, taking those chops, I remember back in the day wrestling in Wisconsin, there was a gentleman that he went by the Harley Hellcat, and I had him in the ring, and it was probably 2 or 3 times in a row the guy gave me a chop. And fans love to take chops, but if you take one and it hits your nipple, my dear Lord, it hit me on the nipples. The pain is ridiculous.
Oh,
people might be into that, but I was
Oh, absolutely. There's a video that went viral. I want to say, was it a couple months ago, of a guy that knife edge chopped a guy at a restaurant and just knocked his ass out. Which is pretty similar to, there's a video I think with Rocky Johnson. He chopped a guy and he was down. He was done. It was a fan. It was a fan that, got in his face. Oh, you're a wrestler, you do that bullshit. Bow. So that's a good way to be tested, is those chops, they're not a joke.
They're no fun. And I've been at different places, different shows where a fan will ask a wrestler for a chop, and I just cringe. I think the last one I was at, Michael Elgin.
Oh God!
Climbed up and gave this guy a chop, and of course, when they're young and dumb, like I probably used to be. They just no sell it, like, but you can tell. I'm like, oh, and I could feel these chops from across the gym.
Man, there's a fan in the Dayton area that he'll ask wrestlers, he'll pay them money to chop them. He's a guy who likes his alcohol, loves his wrestling, but yeah, probably the hardest that I've seen. One of them, Gary J from the St. Louis area. Oh God, I thought he knocked this dude over. Like he's got mitts of steel.
Oh man, I tell you, my chest hurts thinking about it. So 2007 sounds like it's a debut. So about 13 years, you've been going heavy in the business. What promotions there in Ohio, or where have you wrestled? We talked off camera before. You've actually wrestled a couple times over here in Wisconsin for a couple of the local shows around here. But where do you have like a home promotion right now?
My home promotion would be Rockstar Pro in Dayton. Um, I would presume that when the lockdown ends, they'll be running weekly again, every Wednesday and then every first Friday of the month. And they've been running for 8 years. And that's another place of a lot of guys. Anyone that's been anyone has stepped through, and most recently, um, people like the Rascals, OVE, were very instrumental in Rockstar Pro. So it's a great place to go, to learn, to network. Um, and I've also wrestled at AIW, Absolute Intense Wrestling in the Cleveland area for many years. Actually had a 6-man tag match with Dennis Stamp at
Oh
AIW,
wow.
which would unfortunately turn out to be his last match. But man, that was that was an experience. He was brought in, just because AIW, they love to bring in off the wall people there. They've
Yeah.
had Papa Shango, they've had Too Cold Scorpio, all anyone that's been anyone. Um, and he got talked into a match. It was myself, Superstar Jerry and Gregory Iron versus Dick Justice, uh, Dennis Stamp, and oh dude, such and Grado, and such a fun time. It was great to get to know Dennis Stamp. Just a very soft-spoken gentleman. He's very much like you would see in Beyond the Mat, which has recently become available on Netflix. Not a sponsor, but uh, but hey, if you're a fan of pro wrestling or have never seen the movie before, he's a very entertaining part of it. But anyhow, live pro wrestling in the Fremont area, um, and yeah, and just a bunch of other various local promotions in Ohio, and then certainly in your state, Bruce City Wrestling, there, ACW, and even a few months ago, I got to go to a Hood Slam in Oakland, California.
Oh,
One of the most fun experiences I've ever had. And I know we're jumping all over around, but
that's the way it goes here.
yeah, exactly. So like I'm not I am from Ohio, but I don't stay in Ohio. I do travel quite a bit into Canada. I like to think of myself as an honorary Canadian with the amount of times I've gone to wrestle there. So
Fantastic. Have you ever been across the pond where wrestling travels from? You ever wrestled in the United Kingdom at all?
I have not yet, but it's actually funny because I'm very good friends with Joey Legend, and he stayed at my place. Actually, it was November last year, and then November the year before, he got to stay at my place, got to learn and befriend him. He was helping me trying to get booked over there for the summertime. I don't know if that's going to happen, but you never know with how
Hey, you
things
never
are.
know who's
So
watching this right now. So, The
perfect.
Bachelor is available for
That's
booking.
right.
So, especially after this is all over with. I'm going to back up Dennis Stamp. You mentioned the movie Beyond the Mat. Now, I know Dennis Stamp I'm much older than you are, but I grew up here in the Midwest watching the AWA. And
Yes.
that was weekly on when they were out of Vegas. Um, we're just starting to fill our YouTube channel with stuff, so we started something called Inside the Archives, and I promise this will lead to a question. But I brought up in 1997. I was offered a tryout with WCW, and I have my paperwork that I showed on this Inside the Archives YouTube show. Just kind of, hey, here's my tryout to go to the power plant paperwork. Kind of a behind the scenes, like, hey, not everybody gets to see it. It's not really that interesting, but it's kind of cool. The second show we did, when I was first inquiring on how to get into pro wrestling back in the late 90s, it wasn't like it is now, where I didn't really know the internet. I had to look in the back of magazines. But one of the people I did end up getting a hold of was Roland Alexander.
Yeah.
So I showed everybody on the second episode, I've got my business card that I still have from Roland Alexander. And the funny story I tell in there is I got a phone call to my dorm room at the University of Wisconsin River Falls, and it's Roland Alexander telling me, and at the time I know it's bullshit, but I'm listening because, this is before the movie, I've seen the movie, but he's telling me that I'm on the top 100 pro wrestling prospects in America, and I'm going, no such thing. Kind of going with it, but I'm like, I'm college age and going, okay,
Mm-hmm.
I could go around it, but I was like, that's not knowing the man, but that's kind of the way it used to be. Hey, kid, you're on the top 100, yeah, but come on out. Then I saw the movie when he's like, hey, your money's due tonight. I'm like, I could see that guy totally. Hey, you're on the top 100 prospects.
Grooming you.
Yeah, your money's due. So that would lead me into my question. So I'm more interested in what kind of cool stuff everybody else has. Do you have any cool memorabilia or something wrestling that means a lot to you that you have hanging around the house? Do you got anything? Like I've got a Macho Man signed poster, which is kind of cool. But how about you? Anything?
You know, I'm not a huge collector, but I mean, I do have like a few items. I have a WrestleMania 3 event program because, that's, the Silverdome was less than, an hour from where I live. So I never went. I was a year old when that show happened, not to age you, but,
It's too late. Good thing Just for Men is still available. So,
yes.
got that.
I have that. Do you remember the magazine World of Wrestling?
Yeah.
I have the first issue, and the first issue has Goldberg, RVD, and Stone Cold. Those are the big stars of WWF, WCW, and ECW. And it's autographed by Goldberg and RVD. When I become boys with Stone Cold, that will complete the trifecta.
There you go.
So that's another prized item, and it was the first non-WWF or WCW item that I bought, and that's where I discovered independent wrestling, because it detailed in there like ECCW in Vancouver. Because I remember I saw that, I'm like, wait a second, that is an extra C. They're ripping off ECW, those fuckers.
Yeah, that magazine was super thick.
Very thick. Yep. Yeah, and that issue too, it had like the terminology of insider talk of what heel, baby face, and all. Like, oh my god, like I've opened up this Pandora box.
One of my first shows was in Whitewater, Wisconsin, and I remember they were putting a WOW magazine on all the chairs at the Armory there, and then that, I thought the magazine was cool, pretty slick, but it didn't last that long, as far as I
recall. I think it maybe lasted like 2 years or so, because I have that issue, and then I have the issue where McMahon bought WCW, where he owns the business now. Like I have that issue, and but yeah, like they weren't around very long. It was just basically another off-brand aftermag. Yeah.
I think he was involved with it too for a while. I find myself, and I don't know if I used to go to your local Walmart, and there'd be a print copy of Pro Wrestling Illustrated, but I rarely find them now.
Really? Because I see them all the time at like the local Kroger or Meijer stores here. So
Yeah, I don't know what it is around here, but I can get all the Good Housekeeping and Women's Day magazines at Walmart I want, but no Pro Wrestling Illustrated. Let's take it back to a young Benjamin Boone. You were a year old with WrestleMania 3, but what first wrestler who caught your eye when you were a young kid?
I have vague memories as a kid, and I'm talking like 2, 3 years old, watching Saturday Night's Main Event with my dad and older brother of Macho Man Randy Savage, and so much so that I had the Macho King Randy Savage wrestling buddy. That's another prized item in my collection that my aunt got me for, I think it was like a birthday or Christmas. But and then because I mirrored a lot of what my brother liked. When he fell out of wrestling, okay, I fell out of wrestling. And it wasn't until flipping through channels on a Sunday morning I came across Superstars and seeing a vignette of The Undertaker and Kane and their feud. And I just was mesmerized. And then a little after seeing that, like, holy like, these guys are real? And then seeing Stone Cold Steve Austin, I think he was in the program with Dude Love at the time, leading up to Over the Edge. I was like,
Oh yeah.
I'm hooked. I'm sold. These three guys are the coolest dudes I've ever seen in my life. I'm hooked. I'm watching it. I'm watching it at 8:57 on on Monday nights. And I haven't turned back since. And I have vivid memories of flipping back and forth between WWF and WCW. I would flip back and forth from the WWF side from their commercial break to tune into Nitro, and then would tune back because I was a WWF guy all the way. I was the guy that had the DX shirts in junior high, the Steve Austin shirts, and DX rules, NWO sucks, that type of stuff. Sega versus Nintendo, all over again.
Yeah, 100%. I remember those days, and it was fantastic to watch. Who have you been able to get into the ring in your career so far with some of the guys that who are some of the bigger names maybe you stepped in the ring with?
I've stepped in the ring with people like Rhino. That's somebody that I've loved watching in ECW, and I've had many matches with him, and I consider him a close friend now. I've been in the ring with pre-broken Matt Hardy, and he's a class act, a great guy. I was in one of Abyss's final matches on the Independents before he signed on to WWE as a producer. I got to have a couple of matches with Big Papa Pump, Scott Steiner, in Newfoundland, Canada. Rosie, I think I had one of his last matches too.
Very cool.
Those are just a few. Johnny Gargano. Wait, Johnny's one of my trainers, so it's like I don't know if I should have it count, but he's But then again, NXT Triple Crown dude. He's kind of a big deal. So
yeah, he's doing all right now.
To me, he's like he's a trainer, and a friend. So it's like it's hard for me to kind of like distinguish that, but again, right. Johnny's he's a big name, and I will say that he is this generation's Shawn Michaels. After AJ Styles, just somebody that could work babyface, heel, and work any style, work with anybody. Johnny's just on another level. He's that good.
Yeah, he's fun. Definitely fun to watch. Is there anybody on your? It's hard to name it down to just one, but do you have anybody on your wish list? Somebody, hey, I'd like to step in the ring with this guy. Is there one or two? Anybody that's on that wish list for you?
I have a few. I would love to have a one-on-one match with Joey Ryan. I would love to. I've had matches with him, but this is before the Bachelor days. I would love Bachelor Benjamin Boone to go one-on-one with Colt Cabana. I think that we would have some fun. Man, I'm wondering if Curryman is taking calls these days. So, um, just those are some people that I have, at the top of my list, and there's so much great talent out there, in the United States, in the United Kingdom, all over the world, and especially in this day and age of independent wrestling, again, we're on lockdown now, but I think that fans now can discover talent, here at home, abroad, anywhere. And that's the beautiful thing about independent wrestling is you never know who you'll find.
Right. That's the one thing I keep recurring with people I talk to is a lot of the fans. Oh, and I'm not knocking a fan. Like I said, if you want to go to a bigger show, WWE, and sit, in the stands far away from the ring, that's an awesome experience. But you go to an independent show at a high school at an armory where if I'm going to boo or cheer Benjamin Boone, you're going to hear me. We're going to interact. I mean, there's nothing like it. Independent wrestling is fantastic.
And not only that, too, like me being in to point out, there's Justin Clapper, you motherfucker. You're not going to get a roast.
I've heard that now. So many times.
But then, like after, during intermission, before, after shows, you'll fans will have the chance to personally interact with me, and obviously you can't get that at a WWE, like that, or at bigger companies, and that's not to disparage them. That's just how it is, and plus you get to see people that might go to that level or AEW at those high school shows, because you never know, you just never know.
Right? Yeah, you never know who you're talking to, who's the next breakout star who gets that next step up. I'm going to switch gears here. NFL draft was recently, well, it was just this past weekend, in case you're watching this years down the road. This question's backfired on me every time I've asked it. You have a favorite NFL team?
It's going to backfire on you because I don't watch fake sports. I'm just kidding.
Like the third time in a row with everybody. Same
answer. Man, and that's funny too because there's so many like people in the locker rooms that are big football fans and everything. Like I just personally have never been a football watcher. Like I love live hockey. I actually when things start to open up and all that, I would love to go to a Red Wings game. I just haven't had a chance to see at the Little Caesars Arena. I've actually I like the Las Vegas Knights too as well. Weirdly enough, but I think that's because their first year they kicked ass. So
right, they kicked ass with like everybody that everybody else cut. Everybody had to get rid of people, and they picked them up and made a team. I thought it's probably going to be a 30 for 30 someday.
Yeah, absolutely. And people might think like, wait, why does Las Vegas have a hockey team? It's not cold there, but I mean, again, Las Vegas, that's a prime destination for people, so why not hockey? But no, that's those are the sports I watch. Live baseball I can go to and enjoy. I can't watch it on television. I'm sorry. But I'm fairly sure though that it probably would be June or July when baseball season will start kind of late, and it'll just be kind of a half season, right? I'd figure.
Yeah, that's kind of what it sounds like. Yeah.
Especially if because the World Series that's late October, early November. So
the good news is I'm a Brewer fan, and if they don't have an All-Star break, then I can't tank after the All-Star break. So maybe this would be our year.
That's right. Fingers crossed.
But just when you think that you've just flamed my question down, I'm going to reach into the fire and pull my question back out because of the NFL draft. If you, and you cannot say yourself, Benjamin Boone, but if you were to start a promotion today and you had the number one draft pick and you could pick any wrestler, past, present, alive or dead, who would be your number one draft pick? Now, this is a question I'd love to ask, but I'd hate to answer, and I've had some pretty interesting answers. So.
Okay. Man, that's a good question because past, present. if I'm going to build a promotion and if I have all the money, tools, resources, it'd have to be John Cena. John Cena, because not only because he's the most, relevant, he's killing it in Hollywood. Besides Hulk Hogan and Bruno Sammartino, I think that he's had the longest run in any company. I mean, and this is counting Sting and TNA too. The longest run, always puts on great matches. He can talk. Great matches than anybody. He's great outside of the ring. Make-A-Wish. That's clearly evident. The most requested Make-A-Wish superstar ever. And you know that whoever he's going to work with too, he's going to be safe. He won't take any liberties. I would pick him. It was going to be between him and Hulk Hogan, but I lean towards John Cena. I think because of everything he's doing now, and how he's bringing more eyes to wrestling because of that. Matter of fact, I have a friend overseas in Europe, in Sweden, didn't know John Cena was a wrestler until I told her, hey, the movie star John Cena? Yeah, he was a pro wrestler. Oh, okay.
Wow.
Same thing with Batista too. Had no idea that Batista wrestled. So we're at the stage now where guys like Batista and John Cena are seen more like movie stars than pro wrestlers, but it's because of pro wrestling that got them there. So
Yeah, 100%. Cena's that guy that if you were running that promotion, he's going to show up for everything on time and ready to rock and represent the company well. This show seems to ramble on and on the more I do. So one question I wanted to get in here before we end up is this whole pandemic. What have you been doing to stay busy, and what have you been doing to kind of, if you're able to keep yourself in wrestling shape or in that wrestling mind, what's Benjamin Boone been up to these last few weeks?
Well, I mean, I've been able to get myself outside of the bachelor pad, and safely, just places like public parks, things like that, just to get outside, fresh air, weather permitting. Fellow wrestler here in town, Kenny Urban, he bought some gym equipment in his garage, which I've lovingly dubbed the Urban Dungeon. So I go there, when him and his girlfriend are not home. To work out, properly sanitize. In my off wrestling time, I'm a real estate agent, so I've been able to, talk to people with that too, try to wheel and deal on that end. So I mean, and catching up on TV shows. I watched on Netflix Waco, which I was way behind on. And that was very fascinating. Since I went to college for education, I actually have a master's in history. I'm very fascinated by American history, especially since it doesn't seem 1993 to me doesn't seem that long ago, but it is,
Yeah.
I mean, I clearly remember watching that as a kid on the news. I've sadly caught up with every episode of Better Call Saul. That's my favorite show on television. And the long wait now until season 6 is filmed and will be released. I'm a huge fan of the Breaking Bad universe. Anything Vince Gilligan does, just wonderful. So and just keeping myself busy, listening, catching up to podcasts, both wrestling and non-wrestling related, just to keep myself informed, keep my mind entertained and occupied, just so that it takes my mind off. I can't go to I don't drink, but go to the bars to meet lovely women, to give my rose to, or however. So a lot of Skype dates for The Bachelor.
Yeah, as I say, very, very different for The Bachelor. So, in closing, one of the things we definitely wanted to do is everybody watching will want to know how do I follow The Bachelor on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook? How do I buy maybe a Bachelor T-shirt? Where can I get all my Bachelor needs?
Perfect. Well, I mean, this is plug time. So Twitter and Instagram at Benjamin Boone 1, like the number 1, BenjaminBoone 1. You can find me on Facebook. I mean, I'm at the 5,000 friend max, but I mean, certainly follow me on there. Um, ProWrestlingTees.com/Benjamin Boone. You can find all my shirt designs as Bachelor and as Big Bear Benjamin Boone, my previous incarnation. And when things start up, you'll see the Bachelor on the Prawl, whether it's in the ring or hosting my own talk segment, The Bachelor Pad. So I am going to close this out with one question for you.
Oh,
Mr.
no.
Justin Clapper. Will you accept this rose?
I got to say, yeah. After talking to you for 30 minutes, you charmed me. I'm in.
I'll have to mail these out. I'll make sure they're fresh, but no contact, of course.
Quick, I just got to say, if the Bachelor Benjamin Boone is at his 5,000 limit on Facebook, has he not started a fan page yet?
That's something I'll probably have to create. I'll be honest, I've just been lazy. I'm more active on Instagram and Twitter. Obviously Facebook's very important. But yeah, that I'm very active on Instagram and Twitter. So I just encourage people to follow me on there. And certainly on Facebook, my account's open. Anybody can see it.
Yeah, I'm the same way. So great. Bachelor Benjamin Boone, this might be the longest lockdown session that we've had. But it's been a pleasure. I feel like we just started talking, and I feel like we could go on, but we're gonna have to cut her off somewhere. So I think now is the time. So I thank you, not only for helping us with Mania Crawl, but I thank you for your time today.
Thank you so much. It's my pleasure.